This is the course of mathematics, GCSE and O-levels. जो टॉपिक आज हम करने वाले हैं वो है एस्टिमेशन, जिसे राउंडिंग ऑफ या अप्रॉक्सीमेशन भी कहा जाता है. Now before delving into the topic itself, let's understand what the CIE requires from you. Cambridge wants its students to make estimates of numbers, quantities and lengths, give approximations to specified numbers of significant figures and decimal places, and round off answers to reasonable accuracy in the context of a given problem. अब सबसे पहली बात जो समझने की है वो ये है this term significant figures, which is going to be the first part of this video. So let's start with the first part of the video. आपकी स्क्रीन पे कुछ नंबर्स लिखे हैं और जितने भी नंबर्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं वो सब के सब इन्हीं की कॉम्बिनेशन से बने होते हैं. सो या फिर ये सिग्निफिकेंट होंगे या फिर नहीं होंगे. Let's deal with rule number 1 first. So the first rule of significant figures is all non-zero numbers are significant. What does this mean? This means that except this problematic zero, ये सारे के सारे नंबर्स 1 से लेके 9 तक सारे हमेशा हमेशा सिग्निफिकेंट रहेंगे, always. Okay, which means what? For example, I have a number which is 985. Now there are three numbers in this number, right? There are three digits, 9, 8 and 5, and all three are non-zero, so this number has three significant figures. Simple. Another example, let's have 19. This one has two significant figures, and simply 8. This is one significant figure. अब हम आते हैं अब इस प्रॉब्लमैटिक ज़ीरो के ऊपर. ज़ीरो एक ऐसा नंबर है जो कि सिग्निफिकेंट भी होता है और नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट भी होता है. याद रखने वाली चीज़ें ये है कि ये कब सिग्निफिकेंट होगा और कब नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट होगा. So the first example that I'm going to take will be used to describe the locations of these zeros. यानी कि उसका सिग्निफिकेंट होना या नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट होना इस बात पर डिपेंड करता है कि उसकी वो किस जगह पर है. जैसे मैंने आपके सामने एक नंबर लिखा है 0.009002800. यहाँ पे आपके पास कुछ जीरोज हैं जो कि आपके सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर विच इज 9, राइट, 2, 8. इट हैज़ 3 सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर्स जो कि हमें दिख रहे हैं नॉन जीरो नंबर्स, राइट. इसके अलावा कितने सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स हैं, यानी कौन सा जीरो सिग्निफिकेंट होगा कौन सा नहीं होगा, उसके लिए लेट्स सी कि वो कहाँ एग्जिस्ट करता है. तो सबसे पहली बात हम देखेंगे कि एक ग्रुप वो है उन जीरोस का है कि जो सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर के आगे हैं. इन जीरोस को हम कहते हैं लीडिंग जीरोस, राइट. लीडिंग जीरोस वो होते हैं जो कि किसी भी नॉन जीरो नंबर के आगे आ रहे होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल 018, so this zero is also a leading zero, or 0.001, so this 0.00 is, these are the leading zeros. So the first thing that you need to remember about these zeros, the leading zeros, are they are not significant, they are non-significant zeros, which means they are only for cosmetic purposes. नंबर अच्छा दिखना चाहिए, बस इसीलिए लगाए जाते हैं, इनका और कोई रीज़न नहीं होता, ठीक, सिग्निफिकेंस के हिसाब से. नाउ सिंस दीज लीडिंग जीरोस आर नॉट significant, let's move on towards this particular set. ये वो zeros हैं जिन्हें I like to call the trapped zeros. Now what are the trapped zeros? ये वो zeros हैं जो दो significant numbers के बीच में trap हुए हुए होते हैं, जिसको sandwich भी कह सकते हैं. यानी कि अगर मैं कहूँ 1003, तो यहाँ पे 1 और 3 नॉन ज़ीरो है, यानी नॉन ज़ीरो होने की वजह से सिग्निफिकेंट है, और क्योंकि ये दो ज़ीरोज़ इनके बीच में सैंडविच हुए हुए हैं इसलिए ये भी सिग्निफिकेंट हो जाएंगे. इसका मतलब इस नंबर के अंदर 1, 2 एंड दीज आर द सैंडविच ज़ीरोज़, 2 3। तो ये 4 सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर्स हैं, राइट। इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ट्रैप जीरोस आर significant. Good for them. And the last set is this, the zeros at the end. These are called the trailing zeros. Trailing zeros, right? And these are significant, right? Which means what? Trailing zeros होते क्या हैं पहले वो समझ लीजिए. Trailing zeros after decimal and after significant numbers होते हैं. Which means what? कि एक तो ये डेसिमल के बाद आ रहे होते हैं, राइट. दूसरी बात, जो लास्ट आपका सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर है जो कि इस केस में 8 है, इसके बाद आ रहे होते हैं. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये दोनों भी सिग्निफिकेंट है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये डेसिमल के बाद आ रहे हैं और लास्ट सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर विच इज 8 उसके बाद आ रहे हैं. तो इनको कहेंगे ट्रेलिंग जीरोस. ये बताना क्यों ज़रूरी था? क्योंकि अगर मैं आपके सामने लिखूँ 1000 तो ये 3 जीरोस ट्रेलिंग जीरोस नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये तो फैक्ट है कि ये 1 के बाद आ रहे हैं विच इज़ अ सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर इटसेल्फ, बट ये डेसिमल के बाद नहीं है. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि इस केस में 1000 के केस में सिर्फ 1 सिग्निफिकेंट है, ना कि ये 3 जीरोस. दिस वुड हैव अ जस्ट 1 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर. जबकि अगर एक नंबर होता 1.200 तो इस केस के अंदर अब ये 1 भी सिग्निफिकेंट तो है ही और 2 भी है, लेकिन ये 2 जीरोस भी सिग्निफिकेंट है. क्यों है? क्योंकि डेसिमल के बाद जो भी लास्ट नॉन जीरो नंबर है उसके बाद आ रहे हैं. तो इस वाले नंबर में आपके पास 4 सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर्स हैं. लेट्स रिवाइज द रूल्स फॉर द जीरो. जीरो सिग्निफिकेंट कब होगा और नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट कब होगा, इसको हम इस तरह से याद कर सकते हैं. पहले नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट देख लेते हैं. जो जीरोस लीडिंग होंगे, यानी जो कॉस्मेटिक पर्पसेस के लिए होते हैं, शुरू में किसी नंबर के आ रहे होते हैं, वो सारे नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट होंगे. इसकी एक एग्जांपल देख लेते हैं. 0.001 इस केस में सिर्फ 1 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर होगा आपके पास. एक और एग्जांपल 018 जिसके अंदर आपके पास 2 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर है 1 और 8 बिकॉज दे आर नॉन जीरो, जबकि ये जीरो जो शुरू में आ रहा है वो नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट है. दूसरे केस में जीरोस जो कि नॉन जीरो नंबर के बाद तो आएंगे लेकिन डेसिमल के बाद नहीं आएंगे. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जैसे 1000 है आपके पास, इसमें सिग्निफिकेंट के बाद तो ये आ रहे हैं 3 जीरोस लेकिन डेसिमल नहीं है इनके आगे कोई, राइट. सो इस केस में सिर्फ एक सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर होगा जो कि 1 है. इसी तरह से आप कितने भी जीरोस बढ़ा लें, इट डजंट मैटर. अगर आपके पास 12 मिलियन भी होगा उसमें भी इफ इट्स 12 मिलियन, राइट. सो यू नो कि सिर्फ 1 और 2 जो है वो आपके सिग्निफिकेंट होंगे, यानी दिस वुड हैव ओनली 2 सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर्स. जबकि मिलियन के जो 6 जीरोस हैं वो सारे के सारे नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट होगा. अब हम आ जाते हैं सिग्निफिकेंट के ऊपर. सिग्निफिकेंट कब होगा जीरो? जब वो ट्रैप्ड होगा किसी दो सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स के बीच में, यानी नॉन जीरो फिगर्स के बीच में. जैसे कि मैंने कहा दिस. अब दिस वन एंड दिस वन ऑफ कोर्स जीरो नहीं है, ये नंबर है तो ये तो सिग्निफिकेंट है ही है. और क्योंकि ये 3 जीरोस इनके बीच में सैंडविच्ड है यानी ट्रैप हुए हुए हैं, इसलिए ये भी सिग्निफिकेंट है. तो टोटल हुए 1 2 एंड 3 4 5. तो टोटल 5 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स. ट्रेलिंग जीरोस. ट्रेलिंग जीरोस कौन से होते हैं? वो जीरोस जो कि डेसिमल के बाद, आफ्टर डेसिमल एंड आफ्टर लास्ट नॉन जीरो नंबर. फॉर एग्जांपल 0.0250. इस नंबर के अंदर ये तो शुरू वाले जीरोस तो आपके पास जो है वो लीडिंग जीरोस हैं. तो इन लीडिंग जीरोस को तो ये सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं है. दिस 2 इज नॉन जीरो सिग्निफिकेंट. और क्योंकि ये जीरो पहली बात डेसिमल के बाद आ रहा है और लास्ट जो नॉन जीरो नंबर है 5 उसके बाद आ रहा है, इसलिए ये भी सिग्निफिकेंट हो जाएगा. तो 0.0250 के अंदर 3 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स हैं which is 2, 5 and 0. Now keeping all the rules we have just learned in mind, let's do this question. Now I want you all to pause this video and then do it on your own and then check the answers with me. तो सबसे पहले पार्ट ए करते हैं, which is 1 2 3 123. जो पहला रूल हमने पढ़ा था उसमें था कि जो भी नॉन ज़ीरो होगा वो सिग्निफिकेंट होगा, तो इसके अंदर 1 2 और 3 वी हैव 3 significant figures. This was easy. Next, B 1 2 0 0. इसमें 1 और 2 तो सिग्निफिकेंट हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि ये दोनों ज़ीरोज़ सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं है बिकॉज दे आर नॉट ट्रेलिंग ज़ीरोज़, एंड में तो आ रहे हैं लेकिन डेसिमल के बाद नहीं आ रहे, इसीलिए इधर इस केस में 1200 में हमारे पास सिर्फ 2 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स हैं. लेट्स डू पार्ट सी. 0 1 5. इस केस में भी दिस वन इज़ अ लीडिंग ज़ीरो जो कि हमेशा नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट होता है, राइट. 1 और 5 हमारे पास सिग्निफिकेंट हैं, तो यहाँ पे भी 2 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स हैं. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू डी. 18001. यहाँ पे 1 8 और 1 ये 3 तो हो गए. क्या ये 2 ज़ीरो सिग्निफिकेंट होंगे? बिल्कुल होंगे, क्योंकि 8 और 1 जो कि नॉन ज़ीरो नंबर्स थे उसके बीच में सैंडविच हुए में, ट्रैप हुए में. सो दीज आर द ट्रैप ज़ीरोज़, तो ये खुद भी सिग्निफिकेंट हो गए. सो दिस नंबर हैज़ 1 2 3 4 5 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स. मूविंग ऑन, E 12.4. ज़ाहिर है यहाँ पे कोई ज़ीरो है ही नहीं, सारे के सारे नॉन ज़ीरो नंबर है, तो 3 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स. ऑन F 0.052. यहाँ पे 5 और 2 नॉन ज़ीरो हैं, जबकि ये शुरू वाले लीडिंग हैं जो कि नॉन सिग्निफिकेंट होते हैं, तो इसमें 2 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स हैं. पार्ट G 12.0. नाउ 1 और 2 ये दोनों तो सिग्निफिकेंट हैं आपके पास, राइट. और डेसिमल के बाद ये ज़ीरो आ रहा है और 2 यानी कि जो कि लास्ट आपका सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर है उसके बाद भी आ रहा है. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो सिग्निफिकेंट बिकॉज दिस इज अ ट्रेलिंग ज़ीरो. सो 1 2 3 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स. पार्ट H 0.0480. Leading zeros not significant, 4 and 8 significant, and this is a trailing zero which means decimal के बाद भी आ रहा है और last significant के बाद भी आ रहा है. So 1 2 and 3. I part, last part 0.10400. This is a cosmetic zero which is a leading zero, so not significant. This 1 is significant, this 4 is significant. This is a trapped 1 between 1 and 4, so this will also become significant. These two zeros are trailing zeros because after decimal and after the last significant number, so these two are also significant. So 1 2 3 4 5, total 5 significant figures. Coming towards the second part of the video, which is about estimation and rounding off. जो अभी हमने significant figures के बारे में पढ़ा है उसी को हम यूज़ करके estimate या round off करेंगे numbers को. तो जो पहला part हम करने वाले हैं वो है decimal numbers की rounding off, because it's easier, so that's why we are going to discuss this first. तो decimal numbers को किस तरह से round off किया जाए या किस तरह से estimate किया जाए. The first thing that you must know is आपको question में दिया हुआ होगा कि आपको कौन से कितने सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स तक राउंड ऑफ करना है, राइट. कितने सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स तक राउंड ऑफ करना है. फॉर एग्जांपल, द क्वेश्चन नाउ रिक्वायर्स यू टू राउंड अ नंबर टू 2 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर्स. ठीक है, तो हम इसी मिसाल को लेकर आगे बढ़ेंगे. दिस वुड बी आवर एग्जांपल. सो this is our question, let's suppose, right? So we are going to round off all the numbers that we have here as examples up to 2 significant figures. So now what to do? Now the first rule that you need to remember is, let's suppose a number this, right? So first of all you need to see the number and see how many significant figures are there. Fortunately there are no zeros, which means all non-zeros, all significant. So 1 2 3 4 5. there are 5 significant numbers, and out of which you need to round off up to 2 significant figures. Starting up from here, this is 1 and this is 2, which means what? Which means we need to somehow drop all these, right? To drop all these, you need to see this last number, which is like the first number which you are dropping from the left. So you see it, if this number is less than 5, right? If it's less than 5, you simply drop all of them, which means this will become 2.4. You're not going to do anything, you simply drop it. This is the easiest thing that you're going to do. Next, let's have a number, the same number, 2.4571. Now I've changed this 2 with a 5. Let's have a look at it. In this case, since this number is 5, you're going to drop it, like drop all these numbers, but you're going to add 1 to the number before it, which means this will become 2.5. 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay. Lastly, if you have another number which is 2.4771, in this case, as you can see that this number is greater than 5, right? So same as the rule for the greater than 5, which was for the number 5, yani you are going to drop it, but you're going to add 1 into it. And here are the answers. Second type of numbers that we are going to do are whole numbers, right? If you're asked to round off whole numbers, this is how you're going to do it. Now for example, you have a number 41, right? So what are you going to do with this number? Have a look at this number, and let's suppose if I'm asking you to round off till one significant figure. So right now this number has two significant figures, 4 और 1, जो कि दोनों नॉन जीरो नंबर्स हैं. So which means what? आपको अगर एक significant figure चाहिए, so which means this one. So you need to do something with this one. What you are going to do is check whether it's greater than 5 or less than 5, right? So इस case में 1 is of course less than 5. It means just drop and replace with a 0, which means 41 rounded off to the nearest 10 and up to one significant figure will become 40, right? You will drop this one because it's less than 5, you'll just replace it with a 0. Now what if I have number 46, right? This number now is not less than 5, it's greater than 5. So since 6 is greater than 5, you're going to drop it and replace it, right, with 0, but also add 1, right, to this number, to the number before it. For example, 46, you'll drop it, you'll replace it with a 0, but you'll add 1 to 4. So 46 will be rounded off to 50, to the which is the nearest 10th of the number, right? By doing so, you are transferring this particular number in a number which has only one significant figure, which is 5. Now let's do some questions. I have given the rules as a summary here. So let's look at the first question. Write 0.046875 correct to two significant figures. Now look at it and tell me how many significant figures are there. Yes, you're right. 0.0, these are the leading zeros which are non-significant. So all the non-zero numbers will be significant, which means this number has 5 significant figures. So let's write it here. 875. If you want two significant figures, which means you'll always, these are non-significant figures, this is significant, this is, which means you need this and you need to drop these, right? So if you're dropping it, you'll just simply check the last one. Since this is the decimal rule, spot the number to drop. This would be the number to drop, right? Since you need these two, the two significant figures. Then if it's 5 or greater, which is this, yeah, 8 is greater than 5, which means you'll drop it but you will add 1 to it. So this will become 0.047. So the number is 0.047. Next, 0.07164 correct to 0.07164 correct to two significant figures. You're going to do the same thing. These are non-significant, significant, significant, right? 7 and 1. So which means we need to drop what? We need to drop this 6, which is greater than 5. So you're going to drop it and add a 1 into it. So this will become 0.072. 1 plus 1 is 2. This is the answer for question number 2. Okay, the next is 168.9, and this number has 4 significant figures, 1, 6, 8 and 9. To drop the number, which is, okay, let's start doing it. Let's drop this 9 first, right? 168, and if you're dropping it, which is greater than 5, so you're going to add this here, right? So this will become 169. It still has 3 significant numbers and you need only 2, which means you'll drop this, and since this is a whole number now, you are going to drop it and see whether it's greater than 5 or not. Yes, 9 is greater than 5, which means you will replace it with a 0, right? You're not dropping it, you're replacing it. Please note here, for whole numbers you are replacing it. So replace it with a 0 and still add 1 to it. So this will become 170. So as you know that 168.9 will be rounded off to 170 because it has 2 significant figures. This 0 is non-significant because it is not a trailing 0. Last one, 5, 6, 9 and 3 zeros. As you already know, 5, 6, 9 and 3 zeros. These last 3 zeros are not significant, so which means you are going to deal with just these 5, 6 and 9. Since you need only 2 of them, which is 5 and 6, this 9 is your number to drop, right? You are going to round off this 9. Since it is greater than 5, which means you're going to replace it with 0 and then add 1 into it. This will become 5, 7, 0, 0, 0, 0. And this is your answer for 4. It's time for some more practice. You can pause the video and then check the answers with me. So let's do the first one, 71496. Right now there are 5 significant figures and you need to round it off up to 2 significant figures, which means 7 and 1 are your first 2 significant figures. You are going to round these 3, right? So you have spotted your numbers, and since it's a whole number, yes, there are no decimals here. So since it's a whole number, you're going to see this rule. So let's check the last number, the first number that we have, which we are going to drop or replace with 0 in this case. So if it's less than 5, yes, it's 4 is less than 5. So what you're going to do is you're going to simply replace it with 0 without adding any 1. So this will become 71,000. And this is the answer for the first one. Let's do the second one, 0.0401907. In this case, you are going to give the answer correct to 3 significant figures, right? Let's do it. Not significant, not significant. These are the leading zeros. This 4 is significant. This 0 is also significant, interestingly, because it's a trapped 0. And this 1, right? So if you need the 3 significant figures, it's going to be 4, 0 and 1, because 4 and 1 are non-zero, significant, and this 0 is trapped, so it's also significant. So you're going to draw these, right? So since we have a decimal, we are going to see this rule for decimals. Let's see the number, which is 9. So 9 is greater than 5, which means you're not only going to drop these numbers, you're going to add 1 into it as well. So this will become 0.0402, right? So in this case, you have 1, 2 and 3 significant, 4 and 2 non-zero, and the 0 is the trapped one. Okay, moving on towards our next one, which is 4, 1, 2, 3. You need it correct to 3 significant figures, 1, 2, and 3. This is a whole number, which means you are going to see the other rule now. So you're going to replace this with a 0. 3 is of course less than 5, which means you're just going to replace it with a 0 without adding any 1. So the number will become this. This is the number. 4, 1, 2 are your significant figures, the 3 significant figures that you wanted, and 0 is non-significant because it's not a trailing 0. Okay, so let's do the last one. 23.4571. You need the answer correct to 4 significant figures. So let's mark those 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This we need. We are going to drop these. This is a decimal one. Looking at the first rule again, this is the number that we are going to, first number that we are going to drop, which is greater than 5, which means what? Yes, drop it and add a 1. 2, 3.4 and 6. This is your answer correct to 4 significant figures, 2, 3, 4 and 6. Here are some more questions, but there is a difference in this. What is the difference? This. In the last questions we were dealing with up to 2 significant figures, up to 3 significant figures, but here we are going to round off to the correct decimal place. Now there is a slight difference. Since it's going to talk about decimal place, of course हमें सिर्फ वही rule याद रखना है जो कि decimals के लिए है, not for the whole numbers. तो इसीलिए that rule is the same. So let's have a look at it. Write 1.8972 correct to 2 decimal places. What is a decimal place? Decimal places are the numbers after a decimal. तो अगर ये कह रहे हैं आपको कि आपको करेक्ट टू 2 डेसिमल प्लेसेस करना है, इसका मतलब ये है कि ये चाह रहे हैं कि आप डेसिमल के बाद सिर्फ 2 नंबर्स रखें, बाकी ना रखें. और उसके लिए रूल वही है कि क्योंकि हमें ये नहीं रखना है, सिर्फ 2 ही रखने हैं, तो हम इस 7 को देखेंगे. 7 इज ग्रेटर देन 5, विच मीन्स ड्रॉप तो होगा ही होगा, लेकिन ऐड हो जाएगा 1. इंटरेस्टिंगली 1.8 है और 9 के अंदर जब +1 हो रहा है आपके पास, दिस बिकम्स 10, विच मीन्स 0 आएगा इधर और ये 1 कैरी 8 को मिलेगी. Yeah, this is the answer. 1.90, which is correct up to 2 decimal places. Next, 0.0401907 correct to 3 decimal places, which means decimal के बाद सिर्फ 3 numbers होने चाहिए, 0, 4 and 0. So this is what you're going to drop. So which means since this 1 is less than 5, you're simply going to drop it, no adding, right? And so the answer would be 0.040. That's it. That is your answer correct up to 3 decimal places. The last one, write this up to 1 decimal place, right? So 1 decimal place means just one number after the decimal. So 15.0782, you don't need these, you just need this, right? So you're dropping this 7, which is greater than 5, so you drop it but you add 1 to it. So the answer is going to be 15.1, up to correct up to 1 decimal place. Now this is a sample question which is given as an example in the CIE syllabus as well, for the syllabus D mathematics, right? 4024 code syllabus. This is given as an example. So let's do it. Now that we know how to round off for decimals and for whole numbers, this would be easier for us to do. Now the question asks us, first of all, by writing each number correct to one significant figure. यानी कि ये क्वेश्चन हमें खुद गाइड कर रहा है कि हमें पहले क्या करना है. तो पहले क्योंकि इन्होंने कहा है कि हमें इन सारे नंबर्स को, इधर 3 नंबर मुझे दिख रहे हैं जो कि डेसिमल नंबर्स हैं, और इन्होंने हमें कहा है कि इन तीनों को आपको 1 सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर तक लिखना है, राउंड ऑफ करना है, और फिर ही आप इसकी वैल्यू एस्टिमेट कर सकेंगे. सो लेट्स डू इट. पहला नंबर हमारे पास है 41.3 and we need to round it up to 1 significant figure. अभी अगर हम देखें तो इसमें 3 significant figure हैं, 4, 1 और 3. इसका मतलब हम एक एक करके राउंड ऑफ करते जाएंगे और हमें चाहिए सिर्फ ये पहला वाला फर्स्ट सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर, राइट? बाकी नहीं चाहिए, हमें एक ही चाहिए, वन सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर. सो इफ आई ड्रॉप, आई सी दिस 3 फर्स्ट. सही है, क्योंकि डेसिमल है तो मैं डेसिमल में देखूंगी कि अच्छा इट्स लेस देन 3 is less than 5, so we'll simply drop it, not add anything. तो ये हो जाएगा 41, बट अभी भी इसमें 2 हैं और हमें ये 1 हटाना है. दिस 41 इज अ होल नंबर, हम पीछे एग्जाम्पल पे भी ये नंबर कर चुके हैं. सो दिस 41 you will drop this 1 and replace it with 0. Since it's less than 5, no adding 1, so this will become 40. Okay, this is 40. Next number is 9.79. Now let's start. इसमें भी हमें वन सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर चाहिए, यानी सिर्फ ये 9 चाहिए या जो भी इधर आएगा. So you drop it one by one, right? So this is what you're going to drop, both these. So you spot the number. Yeah, we have spotted it. This is 7. Is this less than 5 or greater than 5? It's greater than 5. 7 is greater than 5, which means you'll drop it and then add 1 to it, right? So this will 9 will become 10. Interestingly, 10 also has only one significant figure, because this 0 is not a trailing 0 and it is non-significant. So this will become 10. Coming towards the decimal number, which is 0.765, we only need one significant figure. This 0 is not significant, so which means we need this 7, right? So this needs to go, this needs to get dropped. But since this 6 is greater than 5, we will drop it, but we will add 1 to the 7, so this will become 0.8. This is 0.8, right? So now our question looks like this: 40 upon 10 into 0.8. Now whenever we are multiplying a decimal number with any multiple of 10, we move this decimal to the right depending on the number of zeros. This multiplication of the decimals will be done in the next videos. So here I'm just writing down 10 into 0.8, because this is 1 0, this will move to the right, so this will become 8. So it's 40 upon 8, right, which will give us the answer, right, which is what? 5. And this is our answer. Here's another practice question, and do it on your own and then tally it with my video. So without using your calculator and by rounding each number correct to one significant figure. So let's do it. The first number we have is 10.3, and which has 1, 2 and 3 significant figures, right? And we need only 1, which means we start rounding off from this. 3 is less than 5, which means we'll simply drop it without adding anything, so this will become 10. Interestingly, 10 only has one significant figure. This 0 is not significant because there is no, it is not sandwiched between 1 and 3 now. 3 is gone. Here this 0 was significant because it was between 1 and 3. Now that 3 is gone, this is non-significant. So this 10.3 will become 10. Next we have 19.5. We are rounding it to the one significant figure. Let's drop this. This is 5, so we'll add 1 here, right? This is a decimal number, we'll follow the same rule. So this 19 plus 1 will become 20, which interestingly has only one significant number, which is 2. This 0 is not trailing, so which means it's not significant. Okay, next we have 88.9, right? This 9 will get dropped. Since it's greater than 5, we'll add 1 to it, right? And this will become 89. But since still we have two places of significant figures, so but now it has become a whole number, so we'll look at the whole number rule, which says that if you need only one significant, which is 8, you look at this one, replace it with a 0, but if it's greater than 5, add 1 to it, which means it will become 90. This 88.9 becomes 90. Lastly, 43.2. it's a decimal number right now, so we'll drop this decimal. It's less than 5, so we'll simply drop it without adding anything. This becomes 43, which is a whole number, but we need only the first significant figure, the one significant figure, so this 3 must go, and since this is also less than 5, this will be simply replaced by 0, and not no one will be added, so this will become 40. So the final question will look something like this. 10.3 will become 10 multiplied by 19.5 will look at like this, right? 88.9 has become 90 minus 43.2 is 40, right? So what you do is you just multiply it, or you just let it be like this, because 90 minus 40 is 50, so it's eventually going to get cancelled out, 0 with this, so it becomes 20 upon 5, which gives you the answer 4. So the answer is 4. But since the question asks you to show all your working, usually this type of question will come for like more than 2 marks. It would be about 3 or 4 marks. So for that you need to show all your working, because you will be awarded marks for each rounding off, and then of course the operations that you perform. So this is all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope the concepts are clear now. If you have any other questions, or if you have any queries still left, please leave down a comment below, and I'll try to answer all of them. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye bye.